Relax, it's just like sitting in the front living room. There's only 135 countries watching. It's really quite simple.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Anyway, moving on. Also on the programme, tomorrow the 8th of March marks International Women's Day. We'll be exploring the day's concept. Here to discuss this, the chair of the Federation of Students Islamic Societies, also known as FOSIS, Sahar Al-Faifi. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sister. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
International Women's Day, very important day.
Indeed.
That's right. And that's not all, of course, because tonight we also have with us the organisation behind this. It should be coming up on your screens. There you go. This is a new Islamic-based cartoon animation that's being shown in state schools across the country. So please welcome to the show the Director of Discover Islam, Naif Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. And that's being shown in state schools now, you know. It's all about Islam and there's national curriculum.
I thought it might have been called Naim and Rahim.
That wouldn't have been shown anywhere. I can believe you.
No? No. Anyway, great lineup tonight. But as ever, first things first, it's time for this. Well, it's time for Story of the Day.
It is indeed.
There's a survey being done.
It is.
They say that the good old days were better.
You know what?
And it's really in relation to the research on Ask Jeeves, the internet search engine. Yeah. It was to find out what people found most annoying.
I know.
What is it really that just got up their nose?
Now we're in my ballpark. We're in my territory.
I can just see it.
Because
you've got a list, haven't you?
My wife calls me Victor Meldrew because I love, honestly, lots and lots of things.
Especially after your performance at the supermarket the other day.
Well, I know.
Looking at that 330 millilitres compared to 500 millilitres.
It annoyed me because it should have been cheaper.
The smaller one's more expensive.
Oh, you know what really annoys me? I'll tell you what really, really annoys me. You know when you're in the traffic and you stop to let someone come past the other way and they just drive past and they don't even look at you? I feel like turning around and chasing them, saying, don't you have any manners?
I'll tell you what happened to me. I did that once. Somebody let me through and I hit a lamppost.
They hit the lamppost?
No, I looked back into the mirror to say thank you. I wasn't looking where I was going. And
you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to wave when they're coming towards you.
Anyway, the question today is, what is it that really annoys you? Now, we've got the top 5 or 6 items.
We do.
I'm not going to tell you what they are. You have to guess what they are. What are the 6 top items that people are really annoyed about in this country?
Shall I tell you what really annoys me as well? Stroppy sales staff. You know when you go to customer services and they look annoyed that you've come to speak to them? That annoys me so much. I complained once, let me tell you.
I'll tell you what annoys me.
I complained. I found a bit of pork on my vegetarian pizza, right? And I went to complain. You know what she said? Only one bit. Only one piece. How many pieces does she want of pork on a vegetarian pizza?
Do you know what really annoys me?
I'm getting annoyed just thinking about it.
What really annoys me is that you're annoyed.
You just take everything in your stride, don't you?
It's as simple as that. So let's hear it. What is it that annoys you, and what do you think are the top 6 items, roughly? I think it's top 10, actually, but we're going for the top 5 or 6.
That's right.
What do you think people in Britain feel really annoyed about?
We'd love to hear your responses, of course, to our story of the day. So remember, you can get in touch with us in a number of ways. If you've forgotten how to do that, don't worry, because here's a quick reminder.
Here at Living the Life, we want to hear from you. To get in touch, tweet us at Islam Channel, #LTLife, facebook.com/Islam Channel. You can also email us, livingthelife@islamchannel.tv. We look forward to hearing from you.
And that's how you can get in touch. We'll get your message into us. We'll read through your responses through the course of the show. Now, moving on, Islamic style music and media has progressed quite considerably in recent years, gaining rapid popularity amongst followers.
That's right. It's done so well, in fact, that it's being recognised in the forthcoming Momo Awards, which stands for Music of Muslim Origin and Media. So joining us in the studio are its co-founders, Samina Shah and Eshrat Ahmed. Salaam alaikum. Welcome to Living the Life.
Welcome. Who's Mo and who's Mo?
Who's Mo and who's Mo?
We're both Mo.
You're both
well,
look, let's go back, Eshrat, a little bit, because about a year and a half ago, you actually kind of got into this market a little bit with the Sounds of Soul Nasheed concerts, the Nasheed competition throughout the country. Let's just talk about that a little bit, because that'll take us on nicely to what you're doing now.
Okay, so what would you like to know about the Sound?
Well, tell us what happened then. What was the idea behind it at that stage?
Basically, I always look at the youth, the younger generation as my inspiration. I saw a lot of potential in the industry. I saw a lot of talent. And for me, it was just all about proving to the world that talent does exist in the Muslim industry, Muslim music industry. At that time, obviously, it wasn't about media, it was just about music. So it was, I wanted to prove, and I've got a passion for nasheeds, and that's myself, I perform myself. I wanted to prove to the world that, you know, talent does exist, and for me it was about nurturing the talent and, you know, providing them a platform. So at that time I thought, you know, there needs to be, an alternative, like an alternative for the Muslims out there. So that's when I came up with the idea of Sound of Souls, alhamdulillah. And we launched it in 2010, and at that time it was in Nottingham. And then it was alhamdulillah, a great response, and everyone was like sort of pushing us to continue on an annual basis, and that's when we took it to London. And alhamdulillah,
mashallah, it has had a great response. Some fantastic artists have come through that now. And the whole arena of nasheeds is something that's mushroomed, hasn't it? I mean, it didn't really exist 10 years ago, did it?
No, the media has grown extensively just over the last 10 years.
I mean, we had the kind of traditional naats, from the Pakistani Indian community, but this sort of blending East and West and bringing the nasheeds to the market, it really has changed things a lot.
So, Samina, going to yourself, where did the idea of the kind of moving beyond just a nasheed artist come forward?
Well, basically, I was employed by eshrat on the Momos as a fundraising manager.
Right.
But I do have I have worked with nasheed artists in the past and stuff, and I've managed one of the UK's official #1 solo nasheed artist, Brother Khalil Muhammad, and so. With regards to the nasheed industry, when you said that it wasn't there 10 years ago, I think it was there. It's always been there. It's just that the platforms haven't been provided, and people haven't been aware that there is, like you've got the GNAA. People like eshrat that provide these platforms for these individuals to come on stage and show their talents and stuff.
But it's taken it one step further now, hasn't it? Because we had the Sound of Soul, Sound of Soul, the National Nasheed competition. By the way, the winner last year was absolutely amazing.
Fantastic little kid.
Absolutely
Mikhail
brilliant.
Mela, wasn't he?
I think he was the overall winner,
without a doubt.
I think that's sort of the general perception.
I mean, there were 3 categories, but
there were 3 categories.
Definitely.
He was quite outstanding,
he came in the under 15 category, but I think everyone, it was unanimous, but everyone thought he was the overall winner.
He was. But then you've taken it to the next level now. So we've got the Momo Awards, and is that? I mean, presumably you've been inspired by what's well established now, and in its own day was a new concept, the Mobo Awards, music of black origin.
Yeah, that is part of the inspiration. But like I said, it's after the Sound of Souls. I thought, what next? We've given them the platform. We've discovered, we've a few new nasheed artists. But it's about what next? Where do they go now? Because for many artists, they think, okay, we perform nasheeds, but how do we build a career? Or how do we get the recognition that we deserve? And then they feel there's nothing much in the Muslim industry isn't providing, as a platform or recognition. So I thought, to give them the recognition they deserve, why not organise the Momo Awards? And alhamdulillah, that's where it all began.
I mean, you've taken into account media as well now.
Yeah, it started off as just the music of Muslim origin, but then we realised there was a gap in the market. There was no other organisation out there who organised the media, Muslim media.
Well, to our knowledge,
to our knowledge, alhamdulillah, because. So that's when we thought we'll add on the media.
I mean, look at 22 categories.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot.
Then it just goes to show how, the competition out there, the various different genres out there. And
so what sort of categories are we looking at? Let's focus on the nasheeds first of all. What sort of things are people, and how does the system work? Does it work? How does somebody get nominated? How does somebody win? Is it a public vote? Is it judges? How is it all decided?
Alhamdulillah, we've got a website called www.momoawards.co.uk. The procedure is that the public just logs on to the website, and there's a whole list of 22 categories on there. They go through the list of categories and then they click on nominate and nominate their favourite artist or TV channel. It's basically...
So have you already listed some of the nominations yourselves?
No.
Are you still open for?
We deliberately avoided doing that because we didn't want to influence anyone's decision. So we've just given the list of categories. So it's, for example, the most innovative TV channel, radio show.
It's got to be Islam channel.
Yeah,
it's got to be, isn't it? And living the life.
Living the life's got to be the show.
Living the life, alhamdulillah.
You remember, we can cut you off at any time.
Game's over,
Do remember to give me the cupcakes later on. But it's just, we've got 22 categories, and you have to, people can nominate as many from as many categories as they wish, and from there they've got until the end of March. End of March is when they can no longer nominate, and then from then we will ask the public to vote. Now we will obviously announce the official nominees, and then we will ask the public to now vote for their favourites who they would like to see win. But we are considering having an independent panel as well behind who will make the overall decision, and then we will shortlist and invite the top 5 nominees from each category to come to the awards ceremony, alhamdulillah, and from then, obviously, the winner. There will be one winner from each category.
We'll come back to you and have a chat about when the event's going to take, where it's going to take place, what the format's going to be like. In a few minutes, inshallah. We're just going on to something a little bit more serious.
Something very serious at the moment. That's right. Moving on, we're all aware of the ongoing conflict in Syria, which has forced thousands, in fact millions now, to flee their homes. Many are seeking refuge in neighbouring Jordan.
Whilst many are staying within refugee camps, others have made their way into the country's city. As Ahmed Al-Sayed explains, it's proving to be a daily struggle.
It's urban living in a foreign land. That's how most of Syrian refugees in Jordan live, not in camps, but in cities and towns. Government estimates put the number at nearly 250,000. 23-year-old Hassan Mahdi settled in the town of Zarqa, north of Amman. He shares this storage room in an apartment building with 9 other refugees.
My entire family lives in this one room. We don't even have a bathroom. We have to go to the neighbours upstairs.
The family pays $85 a month for this shelter. The children don't attend school, and the influx of so many new people have made food expensive. But it is still preferable to a camp setting.
This room is better than there. This room is better than a camp.
Registration facilitates access to assistance, including financial help. The amount given depends on the size of the family, but it usually ranges from $70 to $170 a month.
We left our houses and our homeland, so living is difficult, but we would not be comfortable even if we were living in a place in exile.
Refugees come to their appointments with whatever documents they have. In some centres, iris scanning has been introduced for future identification.
The vast majority of the refugees actually reside outside the camps in urban settings. Most of them in northern Jordan and a lot in and around Amman as well, and then a few scattered in remote areas. We're talking about roughly 80% of the population staying in the urban areas, renting in most cases, and facing difficult times, especially during the winter months.
Doa Qasim is 11 and a refugee. She lives with her mother and siblings in this rented room. Her mother Ghada registered some months ago. Since then, the family has been getting monthly cash assistance from UNHCR. Ghada manages, but nostalgia still grips her.
I never dreamt fleeing my country. When I went out of my home, I was never out for more than a week.
Meanwhile, UNHCR is scaling up its registration process to catch up and keep up with the new arrivals.
SubhanAllah.
Well, you know, alhamdulillah, I had the fortunate opportunity to actually go out for the weekend and actually went to do a voiceover for the video that one of the charities actually put together of the trip. And the situation really is quite dire. I think the media coverage of what's happening inside the country obviously isn't powerful enough. And it's only when you go into the country and see what's actually happening. Really difficult.
Even the Foreign Secretary William Hague was saying this week that he now regards it as the most desperate situation in the world.
It is. I mean, look, now we're looking at over 1 million people who are refugees.
1 million people.
And talking about media, I mean, let's go back to our awards. And we were just going to ask, Samina, how's the media changed? I mean, Muslim media has changed dramatically over the last 10 years.
And if you think, going back, again, I remember when Islam Channel was launched, I remember the excitement in the community that we would finally have a Muslim TV channel which could, for something like Syria, show a different side of the story, show another side of the picture. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's been successful, Muslim media, and its rise, and do you think it's got a long way to go still, or do you think that we're competing with the mainstream media?
I think that, mashallah, it's come a long way, and with Islam Channel, mashallah, it's providing that platform for newly established nasheed artists, those up and coming ones and stuff. And alhamdulillah, I think we've come a long way. In the past, I don't think there were that many media outlets for individuals to come and show their talents and express themselves. But alhamdulillah, with the likes of Islam Channel and other media outlets, I think we've come a long way.
There's quite a few channels now, aren't there?
There are. I mean, how many channels are we looking at?
Oh, I can't count them, but there's
more
quite.
than 20 now,
I mean, I
aren't
can spend
there?
an entire night just flicking through them.
There's more than 20.
It's quite difficult to, you know, that's great. I think that's good because you've got an option, you've got choices. Which channel can I watch, you know? And
But then you end up watching none of them.
No,
Because you spend most of your night just flicking through them.
Our viewers are loyal.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, look, when are we looking at the actual award ceremony itself? What are we penciled in for, and where is it going to be?
Alhamdulillah, the actual event ceremony will be after Ramadan, after Eid, inshallah, and before the Hajj. So it's going to be
It's
around.
a fair. I mean, cutting off in March.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
No, because don't forget, after end of March is just the closing date for the nominations, but the voting will basically open up after that. So then we will set like a deadline for people to vote, for the public to vote. So they'll have like a couple of weeks to vote their favourite artists, and in that process, we're going to be obviously focusing on the main ceremony. Alhamdulillah, you know, if we did it before that, it would be rushed, and Alhamdulillah, it's imperative.
What kind of event? You're going to be sticking to London? Is it Nottingham, Birmingham?
Unfortunately, you're going to have to travel down to Manchester this time. Alhamdulillah.
Really, Manchester?
Yes. Well, if we can make it to London, you can also come to Manchester.
Well,
I'll go to Glasgow all the time. So
that's what the BBC have done. BBC have moved things to Manchester.
We'll be there to collect the award. It's not a problem for us.
But businesses are relocating to Manchester as well, isn't it? So yeah, I just think it's Alhamdulillah. We felt that it's about time we did something, in Manchester, different venue.
I mean, it's a pretty big, piece to chew to start off with. You know, you've taken on this enormous thing. It's the first awards. Are you hoping that this is going to become an annual event?
Alhamdulillah, that's the plan.
Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, we hope so.
Yeah.
I think it's high time that the Muslims did have this, avenue where they can express themselves and be acknowledged.
What kind of nominations have you had so far, without giving the game away too much?
We've had basically, according to stats, I mean, we have reached out. Bear in mind that we really launched in January, second week of January. We have reached out to over 62,000 people worldwide, and that's just according to the website. So, and that's not just from. You'd be surprised to see that. I mean, most of the nominees are from the Middle East, Asia. That's where we're getting most of the nominees. I think UK is quite slow.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that. I didn't realise that you were going to be that. We'd be looking at all global.
Yeah, it's global. It's because obviously we have to remember many of the artists are not based in the UK.
They're not based in the UK.
So for that reason,
are you hoping that some of these artists are going to fly in? Do you think for the event?
Alhamdulillah, we're trying. It is a huge challenge, but it's possible.
If you lack any big artists, we can perform.
Yeah,
he can sing Ginganguli, isn't it? The cup song.
We've basically had many organisations, including mainstream organisations, who have also contacted us and shown interest in investing in this concept as well.
I think,
I can imagine.
Even the mainstream. So if the mainstream believes in our vision, and that's what the message I'm trying to send across is. Why are the Muslims basically slow, and why do they fail to support it?
I can see that
it's a bit like Muslim sports people. They've not really much of talent out there, but they've not really gone to that next level. So it needs a bit of nurturing.
And I'm not surprised at all that actually mainstream media will pick up on that and be really keen to follow it. Well, look, thank you both so much for coming on the show.
We look forward. Web address once again.
Yeah, the web address is www.momoawards.co.uk.
Fantastic.
.co.uk. Well, we look forward to seeing all the nominations and maybe having you back on the show to tell us how it's all going. Going to collect our awards, yeah.
Actually, before you go, what is it that annoys you? That's what I want to know.
Annoys. I think annoys me if I see, while I'm drying, I see someone bump into a lamppost or something. Was it that you?
Very funny. Very funny.
No, I think what really annoys me is call centres. When I have to ring a call centre.
I'm waiting for the first call centre where you actually call in and it's an Indian accent that gives you the options. Right? If you would like to speak to the managing director, please press 1, and then you go into the English person on the other side. Whereas at the moment, it's always the English person who gives you options.
Whenever I ring a call centre, I always pass it on to my husband. I say, I haven't got the patience. Can you please deal with it? That's what I find it. I mean,
that's the one thing I find the most annoying.
Well, you just reminding me of something else, because I've got loads of them. Those people who call you at dinner time, trying to do surveys and trying to sell you stuff on the phone.
What else, Mina? What yourself quickly? What annoys you?
Same as the automated services where you're just hanging on and pass from.
You just keep pressing the buttons.
Exactly.
It's the most frustrating thing.
Sometimes you end up going round.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you come back to the first menu. Oh, dear.
Well, look, Jazakallah khair, and that's our story of the day. What is it that annoys you the most? There's a survey being done by Ask Jeeves, the search engine online, to find out what are the top things in Britain. And people are saying the good old days were better. I'm not going to give the game away.
That's it.
We're going to find out later on.
We will. We'll be telling you after the break what the top 5 were. In fact, some of the top 10. But we want to hear from you. What annoys you the most? With me, it's rude people in traffic, call centre, everything. I get annoyed by everything. Yes. Supermarkets, customer services, you name it. But do keep your messages coming in. Remember, of course, you can get in touch with us in a number of ways. You can always get us at Islam Channel, Living the Life at islamchannel.tv, and, of course, at Islam Channel, #LTLife if you wish to tweet us. And we'll be reading your responses after the break. Coming up very shortly is the Isha Adhan in the United Kingdom, and we'll be back straight after that. See you shortly.